And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game called Vault Wars. Now, Vault Wars is a fantasy-style game, but it's based essentially on the TV show Storage Wars, in which in that show, people are going and they bid on these storage lockers, and they can see some of the stuff in the locker, but they can't see all of it, and they bid and they hope that it's something good. This is very similar, where you're going to be able to see some of the stuff that people have that they're auctioning off, but not all of it, and you bid on it hoping to get points. Let's take a look. In Vault Wars, you're trying to get stuff that's worth points. And that's what this little diamond symbol here is at the end of the game. There's a lot of junk in the deck that's worth nothing. Some things are worth points, and they also can be sold for money. Some things are worth points depending on how many you have. One diamond is worth 1 point, but if you have all 4 diamonds, that's worth a total of 28 points. So the object is trying to get as much of the good stuff as you can without getting any of the junk that is filling up the deck. Players are going to do this by opening up vaults. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to get 3 vaults, and then they're going to draft them. Take one, pass the cards, and keep going till everyone has 3 different vaults. The game is going to take place over 3 rounds, and the first thing in each round is players are going to each play a vault face down, flip them up, and then you're going to look at the numbers here of the vault, and starting with the lowest number, we will auction off that vault first. Now, each vault has some characteristics to it, and there's also special abilities on almost every vault that will affect that vault. So first, how many items are in that vault? Well, this one here has a special ability if you draw items based on the number of players. So let's say there's 4 players, we would draw 4 cards that go into this vault from an item deck. Then, the second number is how many cards from this must be revealed. So whoever's vault it is gets to see what's in this vault. So I got junk, an ornate bow, and a diamond. 2 junks, an ornate bow, and a diamond. Now, so I say, I want people to think this is a great vault. So I show everyone there's a diamond. Then, I hand the cards to each person. They're going to shuffle them, and each person can peek at 1 card. So the first person looks, he sees junk. The next person also sees junk. The third person sees the ornate bow. So he knows there's this and this, but doesn't know what the other 2 cards are. Then, the person who is currently the auction master will bid on how much they're willing to pay for their own vault. So I might say, I'll pay 8. Then each other player will bid higher or pass. Once you pass, you're out. But they can keep going around and around and bidding higher and higher. The person who's the auction master can only make that one initial bid. If no one goes higher than that bid, then the auction master must pay the bank that much money, and they get everything in the vault, which they put in a pile in front of them. If someone else wins it, they pay the auction master, and they get all the cards and put them in a pile in front of them. The vault is usually discarded. A few of them also go in the pile, but it will say that on the vault. And we go on to the next vault. Each vault's going to be different. Here, there's only 2 items in this vault, but before you look at the secret item, you can exchange 1 item from this auction for 1 item from the trash. So there's different things here, like, for example, this one here. You can choose the item card that each other player peeks at, so you can give each one of them a different one. Here you can draw 7 cards from the item deck, and you're going to put 4 of your choice in here. So there's all different kinds of vaults that are in the game. As I said, there's also all sorts of treasure that can be found in these vaults. After everyone has bought all the vaults, players have a chance to equip some things. When you equip it, you're not going to get money or points for it. It is simply gives you a special ability. So different things, like for example the spyglass, before you bid, you can pay the auction master a coin to peek at 2 cards. This one here, whenever you sell weapons, you get +2. So sometimes you want to equip a card in front of you just for the special ability. Players can then sell cards. Remember, selling them means you're not going to get any points for them, but you might want the money so that you can bid higher on other auctions. I might sell this diamond and this ruby for 6 gold. That'd be kind of crazy. I think I'd rather have the points, but so be it. After players do that, they will have to store cards in front of them. You have to pay a gold for each card that you keep in front of you, so you might have to throw some in the trash. Now, you probably want to get rid of junk, although junk has a special ability that you can store 3 of them for only 1 gold. Why would you ever want to store junk? Well, there's some special abilities in some cards that make junk better. But for the most part, as I'm looking through my thing and going, okay, I really want this obsidian sword, I'm going to have to pay 1 to store it in front of me. Or I really want this rune forge, so I'm going to pay 1 to store that in front of me. Now, before and after people store, they have an opportunity to visit the loan shark. You might run out of money. The loan shark will gladly give you 12. He just gives you 12. As long as you have 12 or under coins, he will give you 12 coins from the bank. But he also gives you a corruption token. At the end of the game, corruption tokens will give you negative points depending on how many you took. 1's not so bad, it's worth -2. But if you take 3, that's -12. So you may not want to do that. And that's how the game works. At the end of the game, players are going to count up all the points on the cards that are in their vault, and whoever has the most wins. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to get 2 aspiring hero cards, which are special abilities. They keep both of them, and at the end of the game, they will score 1 of them. So this guy gives you +4 for each elven item that they have, and this one gives you +6 for each vault that you have. And there's different types of people that you can get here. And so, for example, she gives you +3 for each artifact item, and she gives you +3 for each 2 gem items. So you decide which of these, and you'll add that to your final score. There's also an optional expansion in the game that includes workers. You'll have some workers placed out in the middle of the table. Players can buy these between turns and before the vaults are auctioned off, and you have the opportunity to use them, discard them. They give you like a special ability to use. First of all, as always, Floodgate Games has done a great production. A great box here with the magnetic clasping lid on it. I like that. Fits everything very easily, the cards and then the coins here in the middle. And the artwork is really cool. The fantasy theme is nice. I would have been able to deal with a modern theme or a fantasy theme in this one. The fantasy theme here works, especially since you got the jewels and the weapons and things like that. The gameplay itself, I was really surprised at just how much fun it was. I'm always a little wary of auction games, right? Because you have to kind of guesstimate how much something's worth. But and then when you pay someone else, are you giving them too much money that wins them the game? But since money doesn't really matter in this game, it's a tiebreaker at the end. You want money, but you want to spend it to get a vault that has stuff in it that you can keep. And you need money to store things or not. Getting the different gems are worth it. There's a dragon's egg in the game, which is -1 point. -2 points if you have 2 of them. But if you have 3, 18 points. Well, that's kind of a cool thing, but you have to be careful if you get them or not. And again, you're never really quite sure what's in someone's vault. Sometimes a vault, you can look at 1 card. Sometimes you see most of the cards. And when you are auctioning off the vault, what do? Do you show junk? Trying to tell everybody that this is not a very useful vault, and therefore then when you bid a decent price on it, no one bids higher and it's all yours? Or do you really want to sell it so you can get money to buy other people's vault? When you look at someone else's vault, are they showing you the best thing that's in there? Or are they, what's exactly in that vault? And that's interesting. You usually know about 50% of what is in a vault, but that's enough information, kind of, sort of. And so the bidding is very interesting, and the game works with a different number of players for that reason, because you're always going around and trying to figure out what in everyone's vault, and then when you finally do get stuff, are you going to store it? And that junk's so annoying, usually, although there's a couple things that can make it better or more valuable. I really enjoyed this game. The little expansion there, the worker expansion and stuff, it's okay. It adds some to the game. I could take it or leave it, but it's included with the game so you can use it or not. If there was one niggling problem I would have with the game, it's the fact that every single vault, except maybe 1, has a special ability. And I think sometimes less might have been more in this case, some more just normal vaults. Just there's 5 cards, I show 1, everyone can peek at 2. Things like that might have been a little bit better instead of, okay, what's a special ability? What's a special ability? I think I would have preferred fewer vaults with special abilities. But it's not that big of a deal. It is pretty easy to figure out. There's not too much going on. There's not so many crazy things flying around. The basic gist of the game is the same. Everyone sees a certain number of cards. Everyone can peek at a number of cards. Everyone has maybe some different information. We're all bidding on the same thing. How high will we bid? If you like auctions, with not knowing everything you're getting. If you like the show Storage Wars, I think you will enjoy this game. Check it out, Vault Wars. Dice Tower Judgment, excellent.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!